Welcome to Dodgers Dogs. As part of the Dodgers Daily Network, Casey Porter here. So glad that you decided to tune in after a very, very successful Sunday, a very successful trip to Kansas City, although you did not get the sweep, which, hey, we're greedy nowadays as Dodgers fans, no doubt about that, especially after sweeping the Rockies. Well, hey, 2 out of 3 is great, though, on the road, especially against a team that had Noah Cameron and Bubic going for them. And it could easily, they got a lead in a couple of the games. It could have been a situation to where if the Dodgers didn't play well or if they didn't have the next man up mentality, easily could have dropped that series, win the series in Kansas City, now have the day off, did what they were supposed to in Colorado, and swept the Rockies. It was fun listening to Kike talk about just kind of the business aspect of it and his post-game with David Bassett on the radio side, AM 570, and he just basically said, hey, this is a business trip. This is what you got to take advantage of teams like the Rockies and that kind of deal. A lot of times you try not to mention your opponents or whatever. I thought it was interesting. He went right after that and just kind of addressed the fact that, hey, this is the Rockies. We are the Dodgers. This is what's supposed to happen. And then he mentioned, hey, this is a very talented Kansas City team. It's a team that won a playoff series last year. It's a team that still has Sal Perez. It's a team that has good pitching. It's a team that the Dodgers saw their good pitching, or at least a lot of it. It's a team that has a premier player. They were jazzed up. They had over 100,000 people in Kansas City this weekend. This was the first time all year in Kansas City that in a 3-game series they had over 100,000 people. And they weren't all Dodgers fans. I know Coach Holt went on, Friday, and there were some Dodgers fans there, and there are some Dodgers fans in this area, but this was a weekend to where it had traps sitting all over it. You had a Kansas City team that had 28 opportunities with runners in scoring position, cashed in 11 different times, and then the Dodgers only had half that. They had 14 opportunities with runners in scoring position, and it was a situation to where on Friday, you evaluate it, you chew on it. You have no idea how the Dodgers won other than the fact that they slugged their way to it. Today wasn't a big offensive day. You hit a couple of home runs. Kike Hernandez was big. So kind of to give you some perspective on exactly what the Dodgers, you say, well, you're the Dodgers, it's the Royals. The Royals haven't had a good year this year. Hey, they should win, yes, and they should. I'm not going to say they shouldn't. But to give you some perspective on exactly what the Dodgers did today, they won 5-2. The top 3 in the lineup today went 0 for 11. The top 4 in the lineup today went 1 for 15. And if you add Tommy Edman to that, which is more than half your lineup of what are supposed to be your dudes, so your dudes being the top 3, your dude being Teo Hernandez. Of course, Freddie Freeman didn't play today, but one of your dudes being Teo Hernandez, one of your dudes being Tommy Edman, 1 for 18, okay? 1 for 18. So the Dodgers won today on the road against a really good pitcher that the Royals were throwing out there with their top 3 going 0 for 11, top 4 going 1 for 15, add in Tommy Edman, 1 for 18, and again, you did it with, on the other side, Lou Trevino, who signed in the offseason to a minor league contract. He was your starter for 1 inning. Justin Robleski, 6 innings. Awesome. We'll get into his outing here in a minute. Rookie. Jack Dreyer, rookie. Kirby Yates. He was a pretty big free agent signing. Not going to deny that. But he only threw 1 inning. So out of the 9 innings you cover today against one of the better pitchers in baseball, Bubic, or a really good pitcher, an ERA just a little bit over 2, okay? You had to face him. Your top 3 did nothing. Your top 4 had 1 hit, and add in Edman, you still only had 1 hit. You had a guy signed to a minor league free agent contract, 2 rookies, and only 1 guy that you really paid a whole lot to get in the offseason. That was your pitching against one of the best pitchers in the game, and you still came away with a 5-2 victory on the road. Now, I know it's the Dodgers, highest payroll, this and that, but you won with Lou Trevino, Justin Robleski, Jack Dreyer, Kike Hernandez, Miguel Rojas. The Dodgers did not win this game today because they went out and spent $1 billion in the offseason. This just is a perfect example. Now, hey, even if the Dodgers didn't have the next man up role players or next man up Justin Robleski types performing the way they are, they still probably would be in first place because they have the most amount of talent. I'm not trying to get on a soapbox here saying that, hey, the Dodgers are overachieving. I think they are overachieving. I'm kind of explaining why that's the case. But I still think they would be in first place if you didn't have the Justin Robleskis or the Lou Trevinos or the Andy Pajez's or good days from Kike and Miguel. There's enough talent to go around. So I'm not saying that. But I don't think the Dodgers would have the best record in all the entire game of baseball. Be 21 games over 500 with 14 pitchers on the IL. There's no way the Dodgers would have the best record in the major leagues if they had not filled in on the margins better than everybody else in Major League Baseball. Yes, they were more aggressive. Yes, they spent more money than everybody else in Major League Baseball. No doubt about it. Cry me a river if you're everybody else. What would you want your team to do? Of course, if you have the resources, you want your team and your management to use every resource that they have available to build the best roster they can. And they did that. A year ago, they got Shohei Ohtani. This year, they get Tanner Scott. They get Tyler Glad. They get all these guys, okay? But you know what else they did? They put Jack Dreyer on the 40-man roster, okay? Who the hell else other than Dodgers Daily would have predicted that, okay? They brought up Ben Kasparius, and they trained him from a guy who 2 years ago, I tried to tell everybody how good he is, and all everybody wanted to talk about was Bobby Miller, and because he wasn't high on the top prospect list. And so they filled in with a rookie in Andy Pajez, who last year had some holes, and the year before that did not even get to play AAA baseball. Okay, they have DFA'd Chris Taylor and Austin Barnes. Yes-Sun Kim has been fantastic. Dalton Rushing has swung and missed a lot, but he has been a good backup to Will Smith. And really, to be honest with you, no matter what happens with Dalton Rushing, it's better for him to be in the major leagues. Nobody will be able to convince me differently. But it's going to be tough for him. I'll say this. He's so competitive. I do worry about it pressing because he's not getting enough playing time to get through the ebbs and flows. So the Dodgers, yes, they are a first place World Series probably favorite because they went out and spent all their money. But they're almost invincible at this point. They've gone on the run they've gone on the last month because they filled in all their margins as well as they did. Hey, we have a wonderful crowd logging in. I am in such a sky-high mood tonight. I tell you, I was listening to David Vassay in the post game. He does a wonderful job. Interviewed Kike and Dave. Dave was very upbeat as well. First of all, you have the off day tomorrow, as Kike said. Absolutely a needed off day, 100%. Grueling grind. Then you come back at home. Then you get the White Sox. It's going to be fun to see Miggy V back in Dodger Stadium, no doubt about that. And you've kind of made it to the other side of this patch that we've been talking about. But more so than that, I'm not going to lie. David Vassay said it on the radio. There were a lot of people that were worried about the Dodgers kind of taking this part of the schedule for granted, it not being name brand, and kind of being a trap part of their season, and kind of falling into just kind of one of those sleepy parts of the season. That didn't happen. The Dodgers went on the road and won 5 out of 6. Tough place to play in Colorado. Over 100,000 people in Kansas City. You saw their good pitching. And by the way, they actually played better offense as far as hitting with runners in scoring position than they normally do. You came out on the other side. At this point, I could not be more impressed. By the way, the Dodgers today again had their 33rd come from behind win. I just will not listen to anybody that say, yes, you spent $1 billion, and yes, you are talented, but this team fills in on the margins with guys like Robleski, Rojas, Kike Hernandez, Ben Kasparius, Jack Dreyer, and they are gritty and tough. They deal with tough parts of their season well. We've seen that. They deal with getting behind in games and coming back and having to win. Hey, coming back from the team that scores first in the major leagues almost always wins. So to say that the Dodgers have come back 33 times after falling from behind. That is massively significant, and that just goes to show, hey, obviously how much talent you have, how hard it is to keep the Dodgers offense down, how good the bullpen's been, because we know comebacks start with stringing zeros in the bullpen, but then also just how gritty this team is, and just kind of the grit that Dave Roberts has put into this team and the type of players that they have put on this roster, and it has been a lot of fun to watch. What a great crowd we have. History Man, thank you so much for joining. Ala Minerva, Chuck Huddleston, Johnny Owen, CNAB, been at the farm all day, been swirling up the dirt at the farm all day, so I got a little bit of congestion with all the dirt in my system right now, but it was a heck of a lot of fun. Me and the two pit bulls and my beautiful bride of 25 years. It's going to be 26 on August 1st. My beautiful bride of 26 years on August 1st. Looking forward to that. My beautiful son went out to his place. He has a place on our farm. Did a lot of work out there. Had a heck of a good time. Have my angiogram tomorrow to see exactly what's going on with all of my heart issues. Going to get down to the root of that. And so I'm excited about that, no doubt. So I could not be more excited than I am tonight. Plus, we have a huge down on the farm to get to tonight. At Oklahoma City, hey, Garrett McDaniels is back. He got returned. He got taken to Rule 5 last year, returned by the Angels. He threw again last night. Landon Knack got back in the saddle, threw really well last night. Elijah Hainline got pulled up to AAA Oklahoma City from Rancho, and he had a great night last night. Played shortstop Jose Rodriguez. We're going to talk about the great outings from Jackson Ferris and Christopher Campos. We're going to talk about the newly acquired Kendall Simmons at AA, how good he's been. Ronan Kopp is pitching better than he ever has. And then Maddox Bruns is back. We're going to talk about him. Put I knew I was going to do that. Put Carson Hobbs, relief pitcher for Great Lakes, in your Rolodex. We're going to talk about him. Ryan Brown, the Vulcan change. Cody Morse, and his big size. So a huge down the farm coming up as we roll on here on Dodgers Dogs. It's part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Do not forget to leave a like. Leave a comment on the regular video. That way it kind of goes in that algorithm, gets seen more, and smash that like button. Please do that. Please do that. So this can be, the more likes you give this, the more comments, the more it gets suggested, the more views it gets, the more we grow, the more shows we can give you. And hopefully, as we log in and I get all of y'all's thoughts, we can cater this to exactly what you want. CNAV, thank you so much for joining. Happy Sunday, fun day, Dodgers Dogs. Showtime, just another off day for Josue De Paula. Noticed he wasn't in the lineup today. Johnny Owen says 21 games over 500. JRM, thank you so much for joining. RoboCop, electric today, no doubt about it. No doubt about that. So, History Man, Dodgers in first place in the NOS by 7. That's over the Padres. They're 7.5 over the Giants. CNAV, I'm going to Tuesday's game. I am very jealous. We thought it was going to be Kershaw Day. It's Yamamoto Day. Was hoping to see Kersh get 3 Ks. It's 3,000 Ks. That's what I get for buying tickets while drinking beer. It's what you get for anything while drinking beer. I can say this. Not going to get on a high horse, but I canned alcohol a long time ago. I canned chewless tobacco about 12 or 13 years ago. Canned alcohol a while back. So I'm on an almost no sodium diet. I'm getting things all figured out. I feel great, and so I am super excited to continue on forward. Hey, Noah Ortega, thank you so much for joining. What if we acquire Seth Lugo at the deadline? Yeah, that would be pretty crazy. Kansas City Royals are almost likely going to be sellers at the deadline. 2.74 ERA. Here's the only thing I'll say about that. They have a lot of good young pitching. They have Bobby Witt Jr. They're coming off a playoff appearance last year. I don't think they're going to want to blow up what they have. I think they're going to view this year as one of those deals. You know, Jack Caglione has not been a good offensive player, but he is, he was drafted just last year. He was in Double-A. He was playing in Tulsa like a month ago, okay? He's a great young player. Bobby Witt's a great young player. You saw them. They have some good young players. They have some good pitching. I think they have a nice young core. I think they're going to try to do what the Tigers did last year. They're going to build around that pitching. They're going to build around Bobby Witt Jr. They're going to try to get Jack Caglione going. And I think the Royals are going to just kind of write off this year and say, hey, we have a good young core to be good for the future. So I wouldn't see them blowing anything up. Maybe a veteran on the margins that they don't see in their future plans. But we'll see. I wouldn't see that happening, but you never know. Hey, Johnny Owen, do you think Texas will be sellers? That would be okay. Tomorrow night, Austin is going to go over all of the potential. I'm not as good at this as Austin is. I can go over a few names and maybe a couple of teams. Austin in his live show tomorrow is going to go over all of the potential trade targets as we make it to July and we get less than a month, actually about a month from the trade deadline starting tomorrow. So I'm not going to get into a whole lot of trade targets tonight only because it's just not my sweet spot. I just, you guys and gals out there would probably know a lot more about it than I would. And so I'm going to defer that to Austin tomorrow. So if you want to know all about the trade targets, Seth Lugo, or are the Texas Rangers going to be sellers? That's tomorrow. Austin Brubaker is going to cover all that, and it's going to be an awesome show. So tune in then. Ela Shiva, thank you so much for joining tonight. Totally agree that Wrobo is absolutely looking awesome. If you haven't noticed, I'm going to be by myself all night. I do not like shows by myself. So get on the horn, get on the social media, get on your phone, text, whatever you have to do. Get people over here to the lobby. Get them in here to our live Dodgers Dawgs show as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Let's get a huge crowd, and let's let you guys be the co-host tonight. That's the way I would like to have this happen. Hey, JRM, I'll have a brewski for you, Casey. Yes, sir. How about that? That is absolutely awesome. There is nothing better than that. Thank you so much for joining, JRM. History man, yes, Yamamoto is great. He would have won Game 6 of the World Series for the Dodgers last year if it went that far. Garcia, third base dude, looked pretty good for Kansas City. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Coach Holt mentioned that was like the first player he mentioned. I mean, you have Garcia third, you got Witt at short, you got good pitching, you got Caglione outfield. You still have Sal Perez, who's kind of mentoring all these guys. I see Kansas City as being a team that thinks they have a really bright future and their next run like they had when they won the World Series in 2015, I believe it was. So I don't think they will be sellers. If they are, it'll be in a smaller capacity, and I think it'll be something that where they can build even more with the core they have right now. So the return, I think, would have to be somebody that in the next year or two can add to the core that they have right now. So, hey, Craig, thank you so much for joining tonight. I always appreciate as many people coming into this lobby. Chuck Huddleston, you are absolutely a rock star. Yes, EJ vote for the Dodgers All-Stars tomorrow. Ryan R., absolute rock star. Doyer's winning the series despite 0 for 16 from Ohtani and Betts in 2 games. No doubt about that. Jose Ayala, Casey Wrobo, and Casper, future aces. History man, what's great about the team is even if the big bats go silent, the others make up for it. Ding, ding, ding. This is why Dodgers Dawgs is part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Read all these comments. It is absolutely the most intelligent crowd on earth. There's no bashing of the players. Nobody is imposing their views on others. It's just absolutely 1,000% A-level, elite type of comments that are just made with great perspective. So 100% it is. So try this on for size. We talked about the Dodgers winning 5-2 today. We talked about the top 3 going 0 for 11, top 4 1 for 15. At Edmond, that's 1 for 18. Okay. Well, how about the bottom 4 in the order? I talked extensively the other day with Coach Holt. Great teams cover each other. So you can break it into thirds, like the top third, middle third, bottom third. Break it into halves. So the top 5 today, not good. How about the bottom 4? The bottom 4 today, 6 for 14, 4 RBIs. Kike Hernandez, huge home run to flip the scoreboard. Miguel Rojas, 2 huge hits. Andy Pages, 2 huge hits. So the team has shown that was actually, Ryan R., you read my mind. That was actually on the show notes. As a matter of fact, I might show you that. If you come over here, I'm going to show you right here some of my show notes here and just kind of to show you just how, if I can, yeah, right here. If you look right here, this was actually one of my show notes that Ryan R. just hit on the comments. So just kind of to show the perspective that we're giving here, totally agree that the Dodgers, that's one of the most exciting parts of this. Obviously, it's exciting that you've gotten some of the greatest players assembled that we've ever seen, 3 top Hall of Famers at the top of your lineup. But it's also exciting that you can win games, like Ryan R. is saying, with the bottom of your order going 6 for 14 with 4 RBIs. And you're covering each other, no doubt about it. Hey, Joseph Martinez, thank you so much for joining. I'm a big fan of the show. I've been listening for years. Well, Joseph, thank you so much. I'm totally honored. Always very flattered whenever I get comments where people watch all the time. Just an old boy from Oklahoma who put together a couple of his buddies, and we have some access to the minor leagues, and we love the Dodgers. We love baseball, and we get on here and talk, and it's always flattering when people enjoy the show and watch. Do you think Christian Zazueta can be a starting pitcher ace? I would say Christian Zazueta. Matter of fact, I will get to him in the Down the Farm. The Dodgers got him for Caleb Ferguson. I would say not ace because I don't think he has like the 98-mile-an-hour fastball. He's going to be like 93, 94. I think he's going to be more of your Landon Knack type. So we're going to get into Landon Knack Down the Farm. Zazueta has been awesome this year. I mean, he's kind of like Sean Paul Lignon. He's been on helium for most of the year. I do think, though, that as we move forward, just looking at the stuff, raising levels, I mean, he's still only at the single A level. I think probably just from a stuff plus perspective, you'd probably slot him at the back end of a starting rotation, like maybe where you would slot Landon Knack. But if he can, his deal right now though is it's having multiple pitches, location of the pitches, great sequencing, and just execution with multiple pitches. So we'll get into him here in a minute. Hey Casey, how long would you give Michael Conforto? So the Dodgers want to know what they have to do at the trade deadline. And so I think they have all the way up to the trade deadline. I think at the trade deadline, at that point, I still think they have about 3 weeks, maybe a month, to evaluate, is Michael Conforto the right guy for this team moving forward? I would say at this moment, all year, I've been consistent with this, no. And it's for several different reasons. One is he doesn't fit defensively. Not a good defender. Teo Hernandez is not a good defender, so you're not good on either corners of your outfield. Over 162, your talent's going to overwhelm teams. You're going to be 21 games over 500, have the best record in baseball. But we saw just last year with the Yankees, I don't want defense that has the potential to be suspect in the outfield. I want to put out both the best offense and the best defense. So I don't think he gives you the best defense. The only way he was going to fit is if you had a really good offensive year, of which, if you go back to our shows during spring training, I thought he would. I was super excited about Michael Conforto. I thought he was going to get in this lineup, in this environment, in this culture, and just pepper the left center field gap and hit about 290 and be a big offensive contributor, and the Dodgers would be able to deal with the defense. He hasn't been able to do that. So not good defense, not good offense. And so if you can do one of two things. You can either go get another left fielder, keep Andy Paez in center, Teo in right, which is likely what the Dodgers will try to do, or you can move Andy Paez to right, move Teo Hernandez to left, Tommy Edman in center, start playing Ha-Seong Kim every day. So if that happens, you have August, about a month, and then September. You have 2 months really to get Ha-Seong Kim acclimated to an everyday role, and that'll be interesting. I wouldn't see the Dodgers doing that, but it would be interesting to see what they do. I think the most likely scenario, they give Michael Conforto about another 3 weeks to a month of at-bats. If they figure out or they decide he's not the guy, I think they go get another left fielder at the trade deadline. We'll see. I think that would be the most likely scenario. But, again, I have no inside information on that. That's just a dude from Oklahoma talking behind a mic that has absolutely no idea what he's talking about. But I'll say this, just kind of knowing how the organization works, I just couldn't see the Dodgers. So here's like in high school, whenever you bring in, the problem is like whenever you bring in your shortstop to pitch, then you have to move your second baseman to shortstop, your pitcher goes to right field, your right fielder you're changing like 6 positions to fill one. So if you stay in-house and you move Tommy Edman to center, Teo to left, Andy Paez to right, Ha-Seong Kim becomes an everyday starter, you've changed 5 positions to fill one. That's the high school thing right there. So you've literally shuffled around and messed with about 5 different elements to this team to fill one spot, and that's on a team that's 21 games over 500, has the best record in Major League Baseball. And that's despite the fact you have 14 pitchers injured. Some of them are going to come back. Despite the fact that Mookie Betts has been struggling mightily in the last 15 to 30 games. No slug whatsoever all year. Freddie Freeman has been struggling. Ohtani has not been Shohei Ohtani all the time. That's despite all that. You still have all that. So kind of my point to that is it's working. Why shuffle around like 5 different things just to fill left field? I don't think the Dodgers will do that. I think they will go 1 for 1. If it's not Michael Conforto, it will be somebody else, and they'll either make Michael Conforto a bench piece and DFA somebody on the 40-man, or they'll just go ahead and DFA him, or he'll be part of the trade package. We'll see how that goes. Great question, though. JRM, boy, Bobby Witt would look perfect in Dodger blue. Yeah, he's a great player. Bobby Witt Jr. absolutely is. CNAB, how many more days does Sheehan have to be at Oklahoma City? I know it's 15 days, but I can't remember what day he was sent down. I would have to look at that CNAB. What I'll do is I'll leave that in a comment afterwards. If I look that up, it'll slow the show down. If I had Austin or a co-host, I could probably look that up at the moment, but if I do that by myself, it would get that awkward searching, and I don't want to do that. So after the show's over, I promise CNAB I will look up Emmett Sheehan, and we'll see when he got sent down. Or if somebody else wants to look it up right now, put it in the chat comments, and we can read it off from there. So Andres Fonseca, thank you so much for joining. Wow, what an incredible crowd we have logged in tonight on Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. What are your thoughts on Walker Buehler out of the bullpen? Struggling mightily with the Boston Red Sox. I think Walker Buehler is kind of a legacy idea. Legacy ideas have always worked for the Dodgers, it seems like. Joe Kelly, typically speaking, does well when he comes back. I don't know, man. We'll see. It's all going to depend on – you still have a month. It's all going to depend on what pitchers the Dodgers get back, right? I mean, does Michael Kopech continue to pitch well? Does Tyler Glasnow, does he figure things out? Does he get back in the rotation? Does Dustin May start throwing better than he's throwing right now? Does Justin Robleski continue to climb into the trust tree? Does Ben Kasparius bounce back and be the dominant Ben Kasparius that he has been? Does Jack Dreyer continue to climb himself higher he's in the trust tree, but higher to the top of the trust tree? If all those things happen, I don't see the Dodgers thinking that they need to go get Walker Buehler and trying to figure him out and doing all that and changing his role and all that. I think that would be an upset to happen, but there's a lot of moving parts between now and then. So at this point, I would say probably a pretty heavy no, but with the caveat of Jack Dreyer struggles, if Ben Kasparius doesn't turn things around, if Dustin May continues not to just be very inconsistent, not somebody you want to trust in a playoff game, if Tyler Glasnow continues to throw the way he's thrown in his two rehab outings and doesn't look like a guy that's going to help you this year, if somebody gets hurt, something like that, then yes, something out of the box like that would be something a Dodgers would consider, but not until then. So I would say, my opinion, again, just a guy talking behind a mic that knows nothing, other than I get to see the inner daily workings of how the organization does things, at least at a minor league level. I would say that if it got to the point where you got Walker Buehler, you're on about a plan C or plan D in terms of the way things have progressed in the last month. So that's a great question, though, Andres. Ela Shiba, do we have room for both Kasparius and Wrobo on a rotation? Sounds good to me. I'm okay with the one inning opener like Wrobo did today. I really don't like the bulk inning role when you come in the fourth inning. And here's why. And just listen to the interviews that I do with guys like Emmett Sheehan, guys that have been put in that role, and getting that time to warm up as a starter, going out there 35 minutes earlier, doing your heavy ball work, doing your band work, doing your long toss, doing your flat work, you do all of that on a time schedule. And the only difference between starting the second inning and starting the first inning is that you just delay your bullpen about 15 minutes. That's not a big deal. The problem with being a bulk inning guy coming in like the fourth inning, you need to do your pregame like you're a starter. You need to warm up, do your heavy work, do your band work, do your flat work, do your long toss. You need to do all of that stuff, do all your running, as if you're going to be a starter. Then you do all that stuff pregame like you're getting ready to have a start, but then you have to sit down for an hour 15, hour and a half. And then you have to wait probably 45 minutes to an hour just to do your bullpen. So there's like 45 minutes to an hour in between your pregame and your bullpen. And I just think from a routine perspective, that is anything but optimum. I think the open starting in the second inning is okay. Possibly the third inning. I'm not big on that. Anything past that, I'm not huge on the bulk inning aspect of it. I just think it throws off too many rhythms. That may be a little bit too fine-tuned and out in the weeds, if you will. But I've just seen it a lot, and that's just kind of where I'm at on that. Yang Yi, thank you so much for joining. JRM. Hey, Donnie Boy, thank you so much for joining. May fell from the trust tree. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's so talented. I don't think he's fallen from the trust tree. I think he's working his way down. It's just one of those deals to where it's inconsistent. You don't know exactly what you have. So I guess from that perspective, you would be exactly right, JRM. But he's a guy, promised me, if he puts together a good starter, he's going to continue to get starts. And if he has a couple of good ones in a row, he will climb right back into the middle of that. So that's kind of where I'm at with him. It's possible we carry 4 lefty arms in October from the bullpen. Yeah, that would be Bessia, Bonda, and Tanner Scott and Jack Dreyer. Yang Yi, thank you so much for joining. Why Sheehan was sent down to the minors still puzzles me. Well, it's because Emmett Sheehan only had 3. I mean, you got to keep in mind he had Tommy John last year. And then off the Tommy John, he only had 3 rehab outings before he got sent up to L.A. And so they sent him up to L.A. They got the innings out of him they needed. They needed a bulk inning guy like a Justin Robleski type, somebody that can knock down more than 3 innings. And so it made sense to send Sheehan back down, let him continue his rehab, to bring him back up at a point to where he can give the Dodgers what Wrobo gave the Dodgers today, which is 6 to 7 innings. So it was the aspect of he couldn't give the amount of innings that the Dodgers needed out of his role. They needed somebody else in his spot that could give more innings. And then also coinciding with that, he needed to continue his rehab. So I agree with the decision to send him down. I know it looks wonky because he's been throwing so well, but the Dodgers have gotten the best of all worlds in this scenario. They've gotten Sheehan down to AAA to have some great outings, to develop things in a non-pressurized situation where he can lengthen into games, something of which he's done. And they went 5-1 on the road trip and have built a 7-game lead in the NL West over the Padres. So really, they've had their cake and they've eaten it too in that situation. History man Roberts and Boone will be the NL and AL managers respectively for the All-Star game. Should be interesting. Yes, no doubt about that. I am not a fan of Boone, by the way. I just think he's way too much of a whiner. Chuck Huddleston says Sheehan went down on June 19th. So there's your answer right there. Bob Tan, Luis Severino from the A's would be cheap and has good road split. I'll make sure and put that in a comment and tag Austin Brubaker so he can cover that tomorrow night. He will be able to give you all sorts of perspectives on that. Hey, history man, I guess Roberts was destined to be the NL manager for an all-star game in Atlanta after all. Yeah. Going to the bottom of this, hey, you don't give TJ guys full pitching load for at least the following year, in my opinion. I agree, Chuck. That goes into the decision with Emmett Sheehan. Jerry M. Vessia, Tanner Dreyer, Bonda, Wrobo, who's the odd man out? I think it comes down to the next month or 2. 2 months, 3 months. We'll see. I think at this moment, the odd man out would have to be Anthony Bonda. If you just look on the merit, and I know Dave even mentioned the merit system today, which I love. I love the merit system, not the country club system. Using the merit system, the odd man out there, in my opinion, would be Bonda. Boone is there because of one great moment 22 years ago where he hit the home run. Hey, Ela Shiva, I'm looking forward to 2026 when presumably Gavin Stone returns. Also, Kyle Hurt, guys like that. River Ryan, don't forget River Ryan will be back as well. Hey, Casey, what's the point with openers? Daryl, the point with openers, here it is. So you got a guy like Lou Trevino who's going to throw 1 inning either way. So what you do is you put Lou Trevino in the best matchups A, and then by the time a guy like Justin Robleski comes in, he doesn't have to face Bobby Witt Jr. in the first inning or the top 3 hitters or 4 hitters or 5 hitters, whatever it may be. So now Justin Robleski gets to come in the second inning, and instead of facing the top 3 or 4 hitters in the Royals lineup 3 times, Now he only has to face the top of the Royals lineup 2 times because Lou Trevino took the 1 time around through that. So even if a guy like Lou Trevino does like he did today and goes out and gives up 1 run, the fact that Wroblewski did not have to face the top of the lineup that first time through allowed Wroblewski to go longer in the game because he didn't face the top of that lineup 3 times. So that's the reason for the openers. It's a matchup deal, and it's also a deal to create length with your piggyback starter because, again, you're not having to face their best hitters for that 3rd time. And we know analytically facing a lineup for the 3rd time is something that just does not bode well for a pitcher, typically speaking. Bob Tan, the A's minor league stadium is almost an equivalent of Coors. Yeah, it is absolutely awesome. Happy Sunday to you, Daniel Berry, Sports Highlight. Thank you so much for joining. And as Chuck Huddleston said, please hit that like button. Wow, what an incredible crowd we have logged in for Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network. Hey, is Joe Kelly going to be re-signed by the Dodgers? I would say he's lobbying for that. I would say probably not. Yes, JRM Walker Buehler does have a 6+ ERA. But remember, here's where the Dodgers fans are going to come at that from. He was terrible for the Dodgers in rehabs as late as late August in rehab settings. He was not good at all until it mattered the most. And so I think that would be the point. It's kind of like the Kike Walker Buehler. The Dodgers are going to view him as the pitching version of Kike. I don't give a rat's ass what he does. I just want him in the lineup of the playoffs because that's when he performs. History, man. I still remember the game in 2008 against Arizona when it was supposed to be Randy Johnson and Greg Maddux, and instead it was Max Scherzer and Clayton Kershaw. My suggestion, Teo to left, Paz to right field, Edmund to center, release Conforto, Kim and Kike back up in outfield and infield. I'm on the same page with you there, Chuck. No doubt about that. I'm sure the prices are going up for Wednesday's game. No doubt about that. I can only imagine what it's going to be to get into a game where Kershaw is likely going to get his 3,000th strikeout. Tony Forkus, you are an absolute rock star. Thank you so much for all your wonderful comments. Thank you so much for everything that you do to contribute to Dodgers Daily and Dodgers Dawgs specifically. You are a rock star, sir. Thank you so much. Hi, Casey. I was at Kershaw's no-hitter 11 years ago. Well, how about that? I was actually at Cole Hamels at Wrigley Stadium for the Cubs. I was at his no-hitter 10 years ago. They are pretty special. Even more special that you were at Clayton Kershaw's 11 years ago, and he'll be at the stadium Wednesday. So Tony Forkus got to see the no-hitter for Clayton Kershaw 11 years ago and is likely going to see the 3,000th strikeout for Clayton Kershaw. How lucky are you? No doubt about that. Yang Yi, Hae-Sung Kim, Tommy Edmonds second, and shortstop Teo moves to left field. Pa is this at center field and Mookie to right. I'm not a favor of Mookie in right field. If they move Mookie, I'm in favor of Mookie at second base. O'Donnell Boy says get Kyle Tucker. Put him in right field, put Teo back in left field. That's kind of the one-for-one deal we were talking about earlier. JRM, do you think we need another right-handed bat off the bench if the Dodgers move on from Conforto? That would be a left-handed stick that you have because you have Miguel Rojas, you have Kike Hernandez, and then you would have, if you didn't, I would say don't move on from Conforto, leave him on the bench. Then you have Michael Conforto and Dalton Rushing as your left-handed bench sticks. Hey, 290 was very optimistic, Casey. Yes, I also thought Conforto was going to be, for Michael Conforto. That is very optimistic, but okay, so whatever you think it might have been, I'll just say I thought he was going to have a good year, but I would agree, 290 was probably shooting for the stars a little bit too much. ADK, thank you so much for joining. You are an absolute rock star. I also thought Conforto was going to be great, and Kim wasn't going to be that great. Me too. So he wins. Although I told you in spring training the Dodgers didn't miss on this guy, he just needs some time. But he's been better at the major league level than I would have ever thought. So history man Kershaw would be a pitching coach for the Dodgers when he retires, no doubt about that. Once he makes the majors, then he's on the team. If it's just a minor league deal, that can go either way. Austin Barnes, confirmed Austin Barnes with San Francisco minor league contract. Wow. That's interesting. You have to rip the jersey off those kind of guys. Major League Trade Rumors just reported it's a minor league deal for Austin Barnes. Great program. John Jordan, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for those great comments. Why do you think the Dodgers have so many injuries, especially their pitchers? It's because they target guys that max out. Max out on spin rate, max out on velo, max out on spin on their breaking pitches, max out on their nasty. It's like an engine, okay? if you rev an engine, okay, how long can you rev that engine and run it at 3,500 RPMs before you start having engine problems? That's why the Dodgers have pitching problems. They've tried giving all the different rest patterns. That hasn't worked. They've tried adding a sixth starter with Ohtani. That hasn't worked. Not necessarily with Ohtani, but if you go back the last 2 or 3 years, using the schedule, using creative IL stints, the Dodgers have been the team in baseball that have given 6 days rest to their starters more than anybody in baseball. They've tried every rest pattern they can. You can't get away from the fact that if you target pitchers that max out, if you run your engine at 3,500 RPMs, yes, you're going to win races, and it's going to be impressive, but your engine's going to break down. So if you max out your arm, it's going to happen. That is why you've seen a rash of injuries, not with the Dodgers, with everybody else. You see one after the other. Justin Robleski had his in college, right? Michael Grove had his in college. This isn't a Dodgers problem. This is a problem with any organization that targets max out type of guys. So that's why the Dodgers, that's why in baseball there's so many injuries. Great question, John Jordan. Great comments. Thank you so much for your compliments. The Giants are wrecked. We told you that. Hey, I said coming into the Giants series, this is a team that probably could stick because they have some pitching. I told you leaving the Giants series, way less impressed than I thought they would be. I didn't think they could stick, and they have not. They are now 7.5 games back. Andres Fonseca, Casey, how difficult would it be to convince Teo to go to left field? I don't think at all. I think it would need to be down the line. I don't think right now is the time to do that. I think that would be a post-trade deadline deal like, hey, Teo, this is the direction we're going for the playoffs. Let's get this thing started now, sometime in first week in August. Let's just make the move, and let's get her done. So I think right now, I don't think Teo would see the point in it because they want to continue to give Michael Conforto at bats all the way up to the trade deadline. But if it was after the trade deadline and it was a final decision of, hey, Teo, this is the lineup we're putting out in the playoffs, Teo would have no problems. So I think we'd give a kind of a what the heck right now to him. Right now, I think in a month and a half, 5 weeks from now, I don't think there would be a fuss whatsoever. JRM, if most of the starting pitchers return healthy, would Bonda be the odd man out? Yeah, we addressed that just a minute ago. I think so, no doubt about that. Muncie's on fire in the 7-8 spots. Yeah, man, hitting like 340 last month. I mean, the dude just absolutely, and playing good defense too. Absolutely has turned it around. Ila Shiva, you know how much I love Miguel Rojas. I love his gritty, tough. He's a perfect bench player. I don't know why the Dodgers fans, they want every player on their team to be like an all-star. Well, your bench players aren't going to be all-stars. If they're an all-star caliber player, they're not going to be on your bench. They're going to be playing shortstop or second base for the Kansas City Royals. So your bench players are going to be like the 230, 240, 250 hitters. And they need to have something that they do. They need to bring something to the table that makes the team better. Miguel Rojas brings several somethings to the table that makes the team better. Leadership, good defense. He has mentored Mookie Betts at shortstop. He doesn't want to be an everyday player. He has nothing to lose by making Mookie Betts better because he doesn't want to be the everyday shortstop. So if you think that Dino Ebel is the only reason or Mookie Betts is the only reason that Mookie's played such good defense, I would disagree. I would say that Miguel Rojas has just teaching Mookie Betts angles, teaching him how to read hops, teaching him how to read swings, teaching him just the tricks of the trade to play shortstop. I promise you Miguel Rojas has played a huge role with that with Mookie Betts. And then when Miguel Rojas does hit, which he's hitting like 250, what else do you want out of a bench player? Other than a guy that mentors even guys like Mookie Betts, a guy that is a great defender, he's tough, he's great in the clubhouse. And by the way, for a bench player, he's been a good offensive player, and that's on the heels of being a really good offensive player last year. I just think Miguel Rojas is not a good bench player. He's the perfect bench player for the Dodgers. You'd have to explain to me why he's not at this point. So that's kind of where I'm at on him. So do we have, we're back to Ila Shiva at the top there. Going back to the bottom, history, man, we have the best team in baseball. Let's defend that title in 2025. Andy Pages, Darryl Jackson, no doubt, has been coming a long ways, 100%. Very happy for Lux's success with the Reds. Lux just needed he needed a change of scenery. That's it. He needed a less stressful organization that would give him a new start. Dodgers fans, they want every player to be an all-star, especially if you're a prospect coming up. I just don't think he was able to deal mentally with the pressure that the Dodgers situation puts on people. I can tell you, the Dodgers have one of the greatest cultures of all time, but it is a pressure cooker. And I just don't think Gavin Lux mentally ever grasped onto being able to deal with that pressure cooker aspect. So it's kind of like a release valve. I think going to the Reds and getting away from the Dodgers pressure cooker where people were constantly wanting to look for a reason why he sucks, that kind of deal. I think just getting away from that was like just releasing that pressure valve. Like, it just released all the pressure. It freed his mind. He's just going back to being a ball player. And now you're seeing the Gavin Lux that he's capable of being. Yes, Sammy Boy Smith, Kike, and Rojas are perfect on the bench. I agree. It's possible it could be Tigers and Dodgers, though. We have a comment as far as potential World Series matchups when the Astros come to town next week. So Justin Robleski, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 6 strikeouts, 1 walk. Sinker was 94, so he's throwing the sinker and the four-seam. Sinker was 94, touch 98, four-seam touch 98. So he has a left turn and he has a high rider. So the high rider is able to keep him from getting ambushed on the uppercuts. The sinkers are able to miss barrels on the flatter swings. So you have 2 types of swing types in baseball. You have north and south. Those are your guys that swing up. Then you have east and west. Those are your guys that swing flat through the zone. So if all you have is a four-seam that rides, then the guys with flat swings are going to be able to start their swing higher and catch up to that fastball at the top. So if you only have a high-riding four-seam, the guys that are east and west are going to be able to beat you. So why it's so great to have a four-seam and a two-seam, the four-seam beats the uppercuts, the two-seam beats the flat swings, because you're not necessarily trying to get a flat swing to swing and miss. You're just trying to move it off the barrel, something of which Justin Robleski did a great job of today. Either way, you're able to throw a lot of strikes with your fastball with a lot of velo behind it without getting ambushed, especially whenever you throw your secondaries as well as Justin Robleski's been throwing them lately. So how about this? So he's able to get every type of hit type, whether it be north, south, or east, west. He's able to throw his fastball to any type of hit setup, north, south, or east, west, without getting ambushed. That gets him to his secondaries. Okay. Slider recorded 7 outs today. Slider was a big-time pitch. Of the 7 outs today that were recorded as an out for Justin Robleski on his slider, 4 of them were strikeouts. So then the slider was fantastic. That got him back to his four-seam and two-seam. And then just about the time that you had the top 3 pitches that were getting most of the outs and doing most of the damage, he would throw in a timely changeup, a timely curveball, and it was just perfect sequencing. It was great execution. And it's to the point where it was a big bag, simplified by just kind of the 2 fastballs and the slider being the top 3 pitches. So Justin Robleski, I've said it multiple times now, he has found the best version of himself. Now here's the trick. Justin Robleski is very competitive. He's very analytical. He thinks a lot. So one of the biggest, I think, mistakes like a football offensive coordinator makes, let's say you set up inside zone and you get 6 yards off of it, you just assume that the other team's going to adjust to that and you stop running it. I mean, how many times do you see that? In football, you're going, we got 6 yards and we haven't ran it in 2 quarters. What the hell are we doing, right? So that's going to be the key for Justin Robleski. He's throwing the two-seam, he's throwing the four-seam, he's throwing the slider. It's working. The sequencing is great. Don't get bored. I always told, whenever I was coaching, I would always tell the offensive coordinator coaching football, don't get bored. If inside zone's working, keep running it, okay? If they overload the play side of it, then tell your running back to cut back. But keep running inside zone. Don't get bored with it. If they wad up the box, then tell your quarterback to keep it and run the zone keep around the other end and make them pay for over pursuing the play. But don't get bored with it. So the key for Justin Wroblewski right now, the 2-seam, the 4-seam, the slider, occasional curveball, occasional changeup, he's got it. He's figured it out. He's got the pitch shapes figured out. He's found the best version of his pitch shapes. He's found the best version of his sequencing. Now just don't get bored. Keep doing it. Modify your sequencing patterns based on the game plan, but that needs to be the only changes you make from one game to the next. Justin Wroblewski has found his best version. Just hope he doesn't get bored with it. Hope he doesn't sit around and try to tweak it. You see those guys and hitters, like they change their stance, they change where their hands are at every day, and you're like, dude, just find what works and stick with it, right? That needs to be Justin Wroblewski right now. So what a great outing for him. I think Justin Wroblewski, if he hasn't climbed the trust tree yet, I think there's still a little bit of, okay, well, he's throwing well. There are some underlying factors to believe it's going to continue that way because he's pitching in ways that he should be able to continue to duplicate. Having said that, I still think there's a little bit of wait and see for him from a guy like Dave Roberts who loves his veterans. So we'll see how that goes. Hey, CNAB says, how built up is Tyler Glasnow right now? About 35, 40 pitches is all that he has thrown, and they have not been very good with Oklahoma City. But, hey, it's rehab. Not a big deal, though. Chuck Huddleston, it was good to see Jack Dreyer dominate again today. Yeah, man, ups and downs. You've got to allow these young players to have enough runway to be able to overcome the downs, the dips, the ebbs, or flows, whatever you want to call them, because if every time they struggle, you rip them out and send them to Oklahoma City, they're going to start to be afraid to fail, and the worst thing that can happen to young players is to be afraid to fail. So, hey, that's all I got for you. By the way, Shohei Ohtani, just kind of something to monitor. So he was 0 for 4 today, the day after he pitched yesterday. On the 17th, the day he pitched, his first outing was on the 16th. The next day on the 17th, he was 0 for 4 on that day. So then he pitched, on the 22nd? The Dodgers had the 23rd off. And then on the 24th, even 48 hours later, he was only 1 for 5. So the day after his starts, Shohei Ohtani so far is 0 for 8. So that, not saying that'll continue or whatever. As he builds up, I think that will be less likely to happen. But I think that is something that is worth at least noting. And it was super exciting to see him pitch yesterday on Saturday. Hit 102. Agree with Ortega. That is the biggest takeaway from the weekend. I would agree with you on that. So, hey, I think that's going to be it for the Dodgers side. Let's not waste more time, though. We still have a lot to get to on our Down the Farm. So let's not waste more time. Let's take a trip down on the farm. So who you're seeing right here, this is left-hander Garrett McDaniels. Garrett McDaniels, a young man that got injured. He went to Mount Olive, originally went to Coastal Carolina, who's become a power in college baseball. Really just started climbing the ranks last year, got up to Double-A Tulsa, was just wiping hitters out, dirty stuff. He was up to around 96. And the Angels took note. They took him in the Rule 5 draft. They put him on his 26-man roster. And so then he has been in the Angels to this point this year. But when you get taken in the Rule 5, you have to stay on the 26-man roster the entire season, or you have to be DFA'd, like a veteran would have to be. And so they DFA'd Garrett McDaniels. He is now back with the Dodgers organization, and this was his second outing, second scoreless outing too. 94 to 95 plays up quite a bit because his slider is just absolutely dirty, and that slider really helps his fastball play up, no doubt about that. So Garrett McDaniels, it's good to see him back in the organization, and well, not good because I'd rather him be in the major leagues with the Angels, to be honest with you. But if you have to be anywhere not in the major leagues, I would just prefer that you be with the Dodgers. And so good to see Garrett McDaniels back. And the next guy we're going to talk about for AAA Oklahoma City has had some ups and downs. I mean, he gave up. We're going to talk about Landon Knack. Landon Knack at home, not yesterday, but his start before that, gave up 7 runs in 1 inning. This is Landon Knack right here. Had a really good outing yesterday, though. Landon Knack did. Matter of fact, 6.2 innings for Landon Knack, 5 hits, 2 runs, 5 Ks, 2 walks, 101 pitches. So he got into the 7th inning, 101 pitches, 64 strikes. Hey, by the way, if you have we have a question here. Could we see Alex Freeland? Yes, no doubt, Alex Barnes. Alex Freeland is eligible for the Rule 5 draft, so he will get put on the 40-man. And so you could see an Edgardo Enriquez type situation where the Dodgers are like, you know what, we're going to have to put him on the 40-man in the offseason anyways. So let's go ahead and bring him on up. Let's put him on the 40-man now. Let's bring him up here in August and see what we got. You could definitely see that. So Landon Knack, hey, if you have any prospect you want to see, let me know. I'm monitoring the chat right now. Knack, not a hard thrower. That's a nice knuckle curve there. 92 to 95 on the fastball. Not overpowering, but this is Landon Knack. Yesterday, he threw 3 different pitch types in the zone, over 50%, which allowed him to kind of control hitters, and he gave the AAA Oklahoma City Dodgers a really, really nice outing. The next young man I want to talk about as far as at the AAA Oklahoma City level is Elijah Hainline. Elijah Hainline, as we flip over to him right here. Elijah Hainline is a young man, actually first AAA at bat. Here's his first at bat a couple of days ago, and then you're seeing it here. Let's actually get to his action yesterday. Elijah Hainline went straight from Rancho to Oklahoma City because Rancho was playing in San Jose. Oklahoma City is in Sacramento. Short drive, about an hour and 15 minutes. And he has some good experience. He went to Oregon State, went to Wazoo, then Oregon State in college. And he impacts the baseball very well. If you follow Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network, I had said many different times about Elijah Hainline, how well he impacts the ball. Well, how about yesterday? This double right here was 102.7. The single you saw earlier up the middle was 102. And then he also lined out to right field at 104.3. So Elijah Hainline is a young man. He played shortstop yesterday. A young man that got drafted last summer. That is somebody that you really need to pay attention to because he really impacts the ball. He's a great athlete, good arm. He has lots of good baseball experience through his college and now a professional. And, a lot of guys would be intimidated getting moved up to AAA straight from single A, not Elijah Hainline. Elijah Hainline, he was actually very excited about it and has handled it with absolute perfection to this point. So good job, Elijah Hainline. And another guy that I want to make sure that you absolutely have your radar on, Jose Rodriguez. Believe me whenever you want, but listen to me now. Look at that 2-seam right there. That 2-seam changeup combo, that right there. See the 2-seam and then the changeup. It's the exact same shape. So let me kind of back that up so you can see the 2 pitches right here. There is the 2-seam. Now watch the changeup after this. Exact same movement, 10 miles an hour off of each other. So to the hitter, that's why the hitter rolls over to shortstop. So to the hitter, it looks exactly like that 2-seam, but then it's 10 miles an hour off. Then he can throw that 4-seam right there that has ride and run to it to get in on a hitter. I just love the sequencing. He also has a slider. I love the potential over 7 foot of extension for Jose Rodriguez. And hey, he's been fast-tracked too. He's only 23 years old. To his own admission, the jump to AAA was very tough, and he got off to somewhat of a rough start. It's been a lot of ups and downs for him, but he is really figuring it out. Jose Rodriguez, ERA in June of just 2.31. His whip is just 1.11, and he has 3 scoreless outings in a row. So I wanted to make sure you had your antennas up for Jose Rodriguez because he is really good, and there is no telling how good he can get as we move forward, as he continues to get more comfortable at the higher levels. Starters mix, he's been a starter in the past, in relief now. They've moved him back and forth, and he just wants to take the mound, take the ball whenever they give it to him, and go from there. Chris Campos moving to the AA Tulsa level. Chris Campos throwing an invisible ball right now for AA Tulsa, no doubt. What a performance he turned in last night. 6 innings, 6 hits, no runs, 7 Ks, 2 walks. And how about recording a lot of Ks, but just look at the movement on his pitches. The sequencing and execution makes it impossible for hitters to barrel. His off-speed pitches, as you see, they just get up to the plate, and it's like they just die when they get to home plate. And that's why hitters just keep hitting over the top of them. Chris Campos, hey, he's given up some runs this year. His ERA is 3.67, so it hasn't been totally perfect. But I do not miss a start for Chris Campos, because when you talk about the art of pitching combined with really good stuff, see how the pitch just dies right there? That is Chris Campos, and he has 3 scoreless outings in a row. So Chris Campos is really pitching well for Double-A Tulsa. And another guy who's had a rough year to this point, just released my interview with him last week, if you want to go check that out. One of the Dodgers' top pitching prospects in their system, and that would be Jackson Ferris. Jackson Ferris back in the saddle, baby. Yesterday, or the night before, it was him. He was awesome. Jackson Ferris in his last outing, 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. His fastball, the broadcasters for Frisco just went on and on about how live his fastball was, and he had good control, he had good command. Like I said, it's been an up and down season for Ferris. His ERA is 5.55. That's a good thing, though. That means he's had to deal with adversity. You want guys that get to when they get to the major leagues, you want to know if they can actually deal with failure, deal with adversity. Jackson Ferris has had to deal with failure this year. He's had to deal with adversity. He's had some really bad starts, and he's had to just continue to grind. He's absolutely done that, and he had maybe his best outing of the year last night. 6 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 7 strikeouts, 3 walks. The command control was good. The breaking balls were good. The fastball was live. So it's really nice to see Jackson Ferris pitching well again, pitching the way that we know he's capable of. And you talk about a young man pitching the way he is capable. Ronan Kopp. Oh, my gosh, Ronan Kopp is pitching so good. If you know Ronan Kopp a couple of years ago, really had a lot of helium. And, I mean, he was a guy that I really would have thought would have been to the major leagues by now. He was pitching that well, no doubt about it. And he went through a period where he couldn't throw a strike. Other teams were stealing blind off him, that kind of thing. And he just didn't have like a good year and a half. He is back. Ronan Kopp is, in my opinion, throwing better right now than he ever has as a professional. I cannot tell you how excited I am about him. Ronan Kopp's ERA, 2.83. He has 45 strikeouts in 28.2 innings, and he's gone scoreless in 12 outings in a row. I will be shocked if he is in Double-A Tulsa for much longer. He is throwing that well. I would not be shocked if he continues to throw like this, if he doesn't threaten maybe even getting a chance with the Major League club. That is how well he has been throwing as of late. So on the offensive side for Double-A Tulsa, Kendall Simmons. Hey, Kendall Simmons was with the Phillies for 6 years. Got signed 6 years ago, was with the Phillies. All 6 years. After 6 years, you can become a free agent. He chose to become a free agent, chose to sign with the Dodgers in the offseason, had to deal with injuries until about a week and a half ago. So the Drillers got him about a week and a half ago, and he's hitting well over 300. And, hey, the Drillers have not been a good offensive team at all. They've had a great bullpen. The starting pitching has been up and down. That's why the record has not been good. So to see Kendall Simmons come in and hit a grand slam, hit over 300, do the things that he is doing, Kendall Simmons has been a breath of fresh air for, we are left heavy. Might be tough for Kopp. I would agree with that, Chuck Olson. That's very fair. So Kendall Simmons has been a breath of fresh air for the Double-A Tulsa Drillers. I wanted to bring you up to his attention because he has been playing very, very well and really just driving in a lot of runs and doing a lot of things offensively that the Drillers have not been able to do until they brought him up. So we're going to go down to the single-A Rancho Cucamonga level. We have 2 guys that we're going to cover here, both pitchers. This is Ryan Brown with a Vulcan change. Ryan Brown, absolutely dirty stuff. That's about a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. That's not the calling card, though. The calling card is the Vulcan change, and his swing and miss stuff is elite, okay? He gets as much swing and miss as anybody in minor league baseball. 53 Ks, 29.1 innings. No matter what level you put him on, Ryan Brown is always going to get swing and miss. His stuff is that dirty. The problem is, like a lot of these young guys that have dirty stuff, keeping it in the zone. So I kind of compare him to like a Ryan Ward type of deal where we have Alex Barnes is asking about Ward. I do not think Ryan Ward will get called up for the Dodgers. I think he's going to have to be a free agent situation and go find opportunities somewhere else. He's been absolutely awesome, but I do not think that's going to happen with the Dodgers. I hope it does, but I don't see that. But we'll see how that goes. Ryan Brown, though, I kind of compare him to like a Ryan Ward in the sense that Ryan Ward's whole minor league process has been, what does the trade-off need to be between power and swing and miss or bat to ball or batting average? Ryan Ward spent like 5 years trying to figure that out. So for Ryan Brown, right now he has the absolutely dirty swing and miss stuff, but he's also walking a ton of people. And that can't continue. We know that if he gets to the major league level and he's not throwing strikes, we saw that with Ryan Pepio early on. It's going to be very, very difficult for him to get outs. So he's going to have to throw strikes better. So it's going to be all about the minor league process for Ryan Brown. How does he find that perfect mix between being dirty and getting all the swing and miss that he always gets, but then also at the same time throwing enough strikes to where that can be effective? To me, that is the game for Ryan Brown. But he has some of the best swing and miss stuff in minor league baseball. Put him in your radar, no doubt about that. Ryan Brown is very good. And the next guy, the last guy we're going to talk about here, a big, tall drink of water, a left-hander, 6'6", 3/4 slot, Cody Morse. Nothing not to like there. That's about a 94-mile-an-hour fastball. And it plays up because of the arm slot. And whenever he hits it to the glove side, he's very good at really just kind of jamming lefties. I want to show you just kind of how hard it was for lefty to hit that. I know that's a hit, but it's an inside-out type of deal. When he goes to the arm side, it's almost like a slider because he's so tall in the arm slot. It has to cut across the plate so much. It looks like a slider. That fastball to the top of the zone is very good. And he sweeps the ball very well and just has a really nice arsenal. He has a lot of unique properties, the way he throws. He's 6'6". I really like the potential. I mean, there's just a lot to like here about Cody Morse. So that is going to do it for the Down on the Farm segment. So we're going to cut back over here and get some final thoughts in here. I'm going to open back up the chat. I've been monitoring the chat the whole time. But, hey, if you have any questions, now is the time. Again, I want to remind you tomorrow night, Austin Brubaker is going to be on the live show. And what Austin Brubaker is going to do, he's going to cover all the trade targets. It is July, so it is time to start thinking about the trade market. Some of the trade targets, some of the needs maybe the Dodgers might have, some scenarios that the Dodgers might need to figure out, and all of those things. So if you like trade talk, tomorrow night will be your show. Don't forget, we'll have our Tuesday and Thursday shows with Mark Watkins. We will be all out this week. Austin will be in Great Lakes. Mark will be in Rancho. I will be in Oklahoma City and Tulsa. If I'm healthy enough, if my angiogram comes back to where I have the ability to do that, no doubt about it. So we will have Dodgers baseball covered and all week long, plus off day tomorrow. Tuesday, you have Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Then Wednesday's the big day. So never more an exciting time to be a Dodgers fan. Hey, you Dodgers dogs, you are the absolute best. You know that. Not the biggest crowd out there. Ryan Sublette. Ryan Sublette. I'm huge on Ryan Sublette. I will get to him maybe on the next Down the Farm. I love his 3/4 slot, how he stays behind the ball. He's another guy kind of like we were talking about with Ryan Brown. Doesn't throw enough strikes yet. I think right now he'd probably get eaten up at the major league level because they'd figure out which balls are balls and which balls are strikes out of the hand. And to this point, he hasn't quite mastered the strike zone well enough, but he is having a great year in AAA Oklahoma City, and I am very high on Ryan Sublette. So to all you Dodgers dogs, it's been a great crowd tonight. I can't thank you enough for tuning in. You are the absolute best. Not the biggest crowd, but the smartest, the most intelligent. You challenge my brain all the time. I love it. There's nothing. I just love talking to all you Dodgers dogs. So you are the best. So until next time, which will be tomorrow night with Austin Brubaker for his live show, I want to thank you for tuning in and remind you that it's always a great day to be a Dodger.